Okay, guys, so let me get right into part two because I am flowing a little bit. So I hope you enjoyed part one. This probably won't make sense if you didn't watch my message from just a couple minutes ago that said, he is still devoted to you. This is part two. Okay, so what I was talking about was the season we're in, the Red Rover season, separating the wheat from the chaff. If you're in your calling, like I said, if this isn't where you are in your journey, you'll know because it won't resonate yet and you haven't. He's not asking you to elevate in these areas yet. But if you are, then these messages are for you. Take them back to God. Okay, so I want to also, if I have time, get to one devotional that will tie into the rest of this message I'm giving right now in part two. But let me first tell you that we're going to be in Exodus 15. I'm going to read parts of it. I hope I can read a lot of it, but it's gonna connect to where you're at, kind of what he's watching us, how he's watching us react to the leveling up, the lessons he's asking us to draw from, the way he's asking us to get back up from maybe bitter places, angry places, places where we thought we wanted to give God our yes, but now we're kind of like scratching our heads going, okay, what did I sign up for? So there's always going to be more seasons of that where he's always doing something new. And well, my mentor has so wonderfully taught me, as you know, I know this is hard to understand, guys, but he is the Lamb of God, but he is also the Lion of Judah. So he has to get lion not only on wicked and evil things, he has to become that lion, but he has to become a lion with us too. If you look at how a lion carries their cub, a lion carries their cub by their neck, by their skin. And that's kind of what it feels like when the Lord is doing that for us. He's rescuing us, he's protecting us, he's teaching us, but it's like he's holding us by the back of our necks, right? In the jaws of life, I'm hearing Holy Spirit say. So in the book of Exodus 15, we're talking about the Israelites, right? And they're basically mad at Moses, right? Because he's the leader. He's the one God put out in front. And so he's taking the brunt of everything. And that's what it feels like when we're in these seasons, right? And what this could apply to you as well, if you're just in a season of still God is speaking your promise to you. But for a lot of us, God is kind of like, let go of that. I'll get back to you on that. Right now, you're in purpose. There are seasons where you're in both. Because guys, remember, he's also doing things behind the scenes in other people. He's setting up moving chess pieces for places, provision, I'm hearing things like that. So remember, there's stuff that you don't see that you don't need to see. It's hard because we want control, but you just don't. So the thing he gave me that a lot of us are doing when we gave our yes, and if you're in this category where I am, where he's leveling us up and he's saying, get ready for these things, we come out fierce. We're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm a child of God. I have authority. Yeah, we need to know that. That's for sure. Whether it, get into the word more, take the lessons, be willing to surrender again and again and again in order for the Father to pour into you. And look, he's not, I hear you. He does this with me. He is not going to give me the revelation or the knowledge in the situation I'm in if I am too emotional. I have to get out of that place. And he says, because I care about you so much, I don't want you to try to receive something you're not open enough to receive until you're ready. So like a good father, he steps back and says, let them cool off. Let me let them, honestly miss me for a minute and realize they need me again. And he doesn't forsake us for that. But the quicker you can get out of that and say, well, I gave him my yes. He prepared me for this. He warned me about this. And now it's here. And I kind of want to call down the legions of angels. Like Jesus had the opportunity, right? On the cross. He could have called down the legions of angels. I hear you. This is what he's giving me. But of course he didn't, because he knew his purpose. I mean, he was Jesus. He's God, right? He was hypostatic, divine, and human, but still human, right? So that's why we could understand he knows our suffering. But with us, we are not God, right? But we are to rely on him. And so there are moments where he said, yes, I give you my yes, but wait a minute. Now it's not about my promise. It's more about purpose. And you're going to allow me to go through even worse things. It's these things, you will triumph. You will, and you will be so glad you faced these things. You will be glad he allowed them. I promise you. I know it's so hard when you're in a season of bitterness, kind of like in the book of Exodus. It talks about Mara and drinking from bitter water. And then Moses was like, well, Lord, you need to provide because they're mad at me. And again, I'll try to get into Exodus to make this line up. But if you've read Exodus 15, you'll know what I'm talking about, the bitter waters, which he named Mara. Okay, but the Israelites were mad at Moses, the leader. You're going to have people mad at you when you're trying to pour into them. That's happening to me already. He's elevating me. On my YouTube channel, I'm getting tore up every day. People are saying, you do know Jesus is not real. You do know he's fake. You do know you're delusional. People are saying horrible things about my looks. People are just mean, horrible things. And there are times where God says, minister their lid, like my mentor is teaching, they're open to letting you help their hurt. But then there are some that are just, they have a demonic spirit there. And like Jesus says, don't throw your pearls to pigs. You don't have time to pour into everybody, okay? When we sign up for our yes, so you ask the Lord, he'll let you know. He'll minister that to you. And I've had to just delete, block, because it's just, he prepared me and I only got a glimpse of it in the last couple days and it's already overwhelming. And I'm already finding myself, I hear you, this is where the legions come in, calling out to God saying, okay, almost like I'm Jesus saying, I take it back. I don't want to be crucified. I know I gave you my yes, but please call down the legions, rescue me from this. And yes, you guys, he is going to rescue you, but it may not be in that moment because he needs you to I hear you. He needs you to survive it first. He needs you to survive it a little before he rescues you from it. It's kind of like everything happening in the world right now, all the exposure. Forever, we were all like, everybody knew and everybody called everybody crazy, but now it's starting to show that none of those people were crazy. I know I had a lot of those same inclinations about the things going on I don't even need to say it. We know what's going on in the world that's disgusting and grotesque, but God is not slow. There's a reason. I know we're like, but he allowed all that. Why? And that's where people walk away from God. I get it. I did too when my husband died. We can't bring suffering and God together. When in reality, oh, I hear you. It was the suffering God allowed that saved us. Jesus, we are so fallen as a humanity. Look at the world, that he used the very thing that what Satan uses to keep us from loving God to save us. He allowed the most important part of heaven, Jesus Christ. He allowed him to suffer so much because he knew that would be the hardest place for us to bring God alongside love. That's why he brought love. Oh, wow. Jesus alongside suffering. So when you say to yourself, I can't understand how a loving God can allow this in my life or that in the world or those to those people, because he's building us for eternity. Okay. So when we want to call the legions of angels down, he's looking for us to use discipline like Jesus and say, you know what? Nope. I know when it's time, you'll rescue me, but right now you need me to learn. Right now you need me to survive it. And you will. You will. I promise. Okay. In the book of Exodus in 15, you're probably going to have to get into Exodus 15 on your own. It says, were there no graves in Egypt, Lord? When the Israelites went from Thanksgiving of all the things God did for them in the journey in the wilderness, and then they went quickly to complaining. He said, well, weren't there graves in Egypt? Basically, that's what we do. We say, okay, we went through all this and I still don't see this thing that you originally promised me. It's almost like God led us and tricked us, kind of like the prophet Jeremiah says. But what did God do? They said, at the end of the day, God parted the Red Sea. He just did it in an unorthodox way. They thought it was going to happen at this time, this way. And God said, you're not me. Stop trying to be me. That was the word I gave about a day ago. So the Israelites immediately was like, well, you could have just buried us from the beginning. I've said that in my journey. I've said, why bring me this far out and have me stand on all these things? I'm 11 years into waiting for certain things to click. And he's made a lot of it click, and I've forgotten. And let me tell you, when you forget the Lord in many ways, whether it's because you fall to sin or you become ungrateful again and you say, well, I don't see anything. It's because you're in the present looking at what he's doing in that moment. You're not thinking of what he's done in the past. You're still here. And there's many things you can be thankful for. And I know it's hard to hear. It makes a lot of people mad. I know people react to me that way when they see me be okay with what he's allowed in my life. But I've come too far and I've seen too much. And that's the season you might be in, okay? So try to restrain yourselves from thinking about, well, I could have just started getting on with my life this long ago but I didn't because God spoke this to me. Well, then he's still speaking it. He's still speaking something to you. He's just asking you to not complain about being buried with graves in Egypt because he's brought you into the wilderness. You're going to come through. There will be a promised land. You don't know all the details or the whens, the how, the why, the who's, but their wilderness does have an end. Okay. And we're ultimately building towards eternity, but don't try to discipline yourself from calling down to the angels like Jesus couldn't do, because even though he knew he could, but he had to suffer. You too are in a season potentially, if this is you, like me, where he's asking you to just trust him. When he's ready, he'll rescue you, but he needs you to survive it for a little while so you can draw the strength from it. Okay, there might be a part 3 later in the day today, guys, or maybe I'll film it right now. But I hope this part blessed you. Get into Exodus 15. I might still get into it and put out another message. I'm just trying to be obedient. I'm just trying to help us all right now. I know a lot of us are feeling this part of our season. So if this is you, I hope it bless you. And I will also try to pop in with some encouraging devotionals today too, because I know a lot of us are in different parts of our season. I'll pop in soon.